remember. And
All right.
I was just seeing people complain about the Bears draft. And I was like, oh God, like what did we do that was so bad? It got better though. So the draft wasn't what everybody wanted, but as it was going along, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. We needed offensive linemen. There's a couple offensive linemen in there, but we have to fix the offensive line thing with the Bears through free agency as well. But we can't go get a 39-year-old left tackle that's on his knees every other play.
No,
Like
that was so telegraphed. Like I said, it was Orlando Pace all over again. As
yeah.
soon as they made that pickup last year, it's like, this is Orlando Pace. I guarantee you, he's not going to be able to keep up. As much as he has a legendary career, he's on the tail end of that career. It was inevitable.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was inevitable. And some people tried to convince me. I'm like, you're not going to convince me. This is a very rushed move.
Yes.
Dude will not be able to do it. I'm guaranteeing you that. And it didn't happen. Didn't happen.
One cool thing, because I'm going to be all over the place. They did when they drafted Doug Kramer. I jumped up and down.
Oh, I bet you did.
Played for U of I, so I got to watch him. I talked to Coach Bart Miller weeks before that. He's offensive line coach at U of I, which was great. Got to talk to him. And he actually is from a high school that's probably 15 minutes away, 15, 20 minutes away.
Oh, nice.
So went to Hinsdale Central. And I jumped up and down, and I'm like, he is perfect because he's mean, he's nasty. And watch him play at the U of I. And the U of I, we already know people can shut up. It's not a winning football program yet. But the way they could run the football, even when Lovie Smith was there, and then last year, the way they could run the football, he was the anchor of that. Like he has to be mean. Now he was a center, but he can play anywhere. Talking to Coach Miller, and you listen to Coach Miller, he trains these guys to play every position. He's like, if you watch U of I play, he'll move guys around. Oh, you're a good puller? Well, you're going to go in on these couple of plays as a tackle because you can. Like, because he's like, I will teach them how to play tackle. I will teach them how to play guard. They will learn how to snap the football. So the thing that they could use him on the Bears, he can go anywhere. He can play at any position. So I was just jumping up and down. I was like, this is an offensive lineman we need finally. But yeah, that was my big thing. The draft wasn't that bad. I thought they did okay.
No, I mean, I think over, like early on, I was like, personally, the end of the draft is what I was like, okay, I'm a little more mellowed out with this. I just had hoped that they were going for higher profile offensive linemen to start. But I understand why they picked up the guys that they did with like Kyler Gordon, as well as Jaquan Brisker. I get it. If we're talking poor production last year or just really areas where like Chicago, I mean, some of it was just unfortunate. Like Desmond Trufant. He decides he's not going to show up, but then he goes and plays in New Orleans, know, and you're like, oh, great. There goes arguably a starting corner on the opposite side that just now we have to plug that hole. But like I said, Gordon, I mean, he's coming from a school and a program that, I mean, has done an excellent job at developing secondary talent. So like, I'm looking to see him play pretty well. And then Brisker's a hard-nosed heavy hitter, Big Ten, Penn State. I mean, it's what I want for the opposite side of Eddie Jackson, Yes. And Eddie, now you think he should be a little more free reigning, should be a little more like how Eberflus is with his own defensive schemes. He's more free reign to do what he is as his individual task.
Right.
You're focused on doing this assignment. You do this assignment well, and everyone has to execute their specific assignments to a T. So he gets to focus more on, I get to hit people. I get to play free range, a true free safety now. Brisker has that talent to, of course, be that. So, like, I like those picks. But, again, like, as a Bears fan, you saw what happened last year. What was the main thing Justin Fields was doing last year? Hitting the ground and running for his damn life. And we're drafting, secondary players, and we're hoping out of the minimal free agent signings that we'll get something put together. Now, Lucas Patrick, okay. I feel a little bit better now, You hope Tevin Jenkins is healthier this year. He should be. Larry Borum, full season will be under his belt, you hope.
Right.
He's solid. And now it's just the right guard. that you got to think about.
Well, like you said, I think when you saw the Bears had too many holes to fill, so that was another thing.
They do.
Like again, but you had to rank them. Which ones were the most? I think everybody was going to say offensive line, but
That's right. Yeah,
you would think that. But we also need corners, so they are drafting needs. We needed corners. They've got to figure out that defensive line because you got Akeem Hicks is gone.
they do.
That's got to be the next thing. And then also, who are we going to throw the ball to?
Well, they're slowly but surely. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to, we're going to make some.
Who are we going to throw the ball to in 2022 and 2023? We'll find somebody in 23, 24. Like you said, we're
it's all about next year.
Yes.
It really is. This year it's a lot of evaluation and building up your own prospects, doing it the Indianapolis way or the Kansas City way, building up the roster and stockpiling our talent, our farm system, our scouted guys. Just hope that they don't pull, let's not like hide the money back in the Dragon's lair, and we do spend that cap, don't go buy an off season like the Colts do and like just hoard money. That's all I'm going to say. Don't be the Colts in that regard.
30 million.
Draft well, but spend some of it, please. Get the best of both worlds mixture. Because like Brian Pringle, okay, like that's one that I've been seeing. I hear people discuss. It's like 1 year deal. He has a lot of potential coming out of Kansas City. That you're like, well, maybe he steps up. He's out of that like clustered receiving core, and maybe he gets a little more explosive and he gets to do his own thing. We'll see. It's a lot of hinging type of things. Like maybe this could work out. Maybe in theory with this system, with them having more opportunities because they were so light on receiving core. Like Velus Jones, he'll be I think he could be a really good third guy, slot gadget guy. Mm-hmm. Obviously that was something he was great with, his yards after the catch, open space at Tennessee. So that's, I think, what they're looking to do with him. Pringle, to me, as of now that could change in the offseason or with OTAs, with training camp and all that. He's kind of my two, just because of the system he comes from. And, he already was getting some good – he was already doing decently well when he was given opportunities in Kansas City. So, that itself, like that's my answer to the best of my ability with the receiving core. Still doesn't make me say, wow, and that could change. Maybe Pringle does come out and he blows expectations away like people are talking. Or maybe Velus Jones becomes that studded third-round pick that, even though everyone critiques his age, dear God, you bring up the age of him coming out of the draft. He's 25? What? And you're like, yeah, he's 25, but he's damn good. Trust us, we'll get years out of him, Well,
it's better than signing a 39-year-old. So what did you got to pick? Make a decision.
I'll take the 25-year-old. That I'll go with that. I trust that.
25 is fine. That means he should have adult muscle on him now, and he'll be fine. He'll be good. Who else was I thinking of? But yeah, Bears just have too much stuff. And I swear to God, if we don't see 2 or 3 running backs being used this year, I'm going to flip out. I'm going to go to Eberflus in Chicago and have a conversation.
Oh no, dude! If Getsy doesn't use 2 running backs well, I would go to him and be like, how did you have amnesia? Like, you came from Green Bay, right? Like you had AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. Did you just forget? Like that's what I'll do, because otherwise that's like the expectation is that you're going to see Herbert and Montgomery get that split set, but Montgomery will be like that 60-70% carries of the game,
right? And
then you'll have Herbert spell him and or he'll be like that bruising guy to soften up the defense a little bit on some runs because he's a bigger body and more, he's got more muscle mass on him.
And that Ember from Baylor that they drafted.
Yeah.
They drafted him because he misses a lot of tackles or breaks a lot of tackles. That could be your running back / slot guy to help with the wide receiver core there. There was an article. He's like 97 percentile of like breaking tackles or something in college football. Like it was
Wow.
amazing. And that type of Baylor offense where he's supposed to go one on one with people, uh, be pretty good to spell. Then you got Justin Fields, who I'm not sold on still, but gonna have to be.
Well, they are, like Getsy and company have been saying, they're going to play to his strengths, which, hey, you and I know we're going to be evaluating that really quick. I better see a lot of bootlegs. I better see a lot of RPO. I better see this guy doing a lot more running and given options to run and get out of the pocket than he was last year. Don't set him back there to die. Let him, a running game, consistently running it,
And I'm going to get canceled for this too. He has been hanging out with Colin Kaepernick, so I don't know what happened.
More experience. I mean, guy knows how to play that position in the same style that he's playing now. So I think that's like Getsy to me. It all hinges a lot on him. Eberflus, we know Eberflus is the defensive minded. I'm going to handle the, taking care a lot about that. And then Getsy's in there. It's like you bring your system, you get in what you need. Obviously, or people from Green Bay that you can find. Like I said, Lucas Patrick is a crucial one to me, just because he's an upgrade over like Sam Mustipher. So,
yeah,
that one alone is a solid signing just to get solidifying your offensive line. Not even worry about Cody Whitehair doing high snaps if you have to put him in there. I love Cody Whitehair as a center, but like that's the one thing me and my dad talking about is like I'm like, Dad, he does a great job looking at and depicting where blitzes are coming from, line assignments, all that. He's like, yeah, but he's terrible at snaps. I'm like, true, you got me on that point. But I guess I'll take that.
That's where Doug Kramer comes in.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, Kramer, I mean, if you're talking about utility, like I said, the right guard, from what I can tell, is the only one that really needs competition, because like Borum and Jenkins are going to solidify those tackles. And then you got Whitehair, who's in his guard duty again. Patrick, who's going to be the center, who's taking the right guard. And early odds, I guess, are Sam Mustipher.
Yeah.
But, you'll
go with more experienced person. But again, you do need guys in. Because what was it? At one point, the Bears had like 7 or 8 offensive linemen, and that was it.
Yeah.
Something like that. So you need more offensive linemen. You need competition. I think that I don't remember. So I think the offensive line will be okay. But like you said, at least offensive wise and offensive line wise, you're not going to see a cohesive unit till 2023. Like it's just, or near the end of the year, hopefully. So we're going to have to watch an offense break down again. We lost wide receivers. We don't have this playmaker.
Now for you, zone blocking, yay or nay? Because that's going to be a lot of the focus with this.
So for me personally, as an offensive guy for football, I love zone. But I know NFL is a different animal. High school, I can sit there and say we're a zone team. College, you could sit there and say you're a zone team. NFL, you got to do all of it. Zone blocking was fine for the Bears. I did not have a problem with zone blocking. They got yards out of it. They pin and pulled a lot. So they zone block, but they can pull somebody. Now they started doing GT stuff and pulling guard tackle. When they started doing even power was a struggle for them. That's why you got to solidify those guards. If your guards can't pull, you're going to have a problem.
It's crucial.
Mm-hmm. But if that's what they can do, then that's what they can do. I'm all for zone blocking. They duo blocked a lot, which is similar to that, but they're going to double team everywhere and get to a linebacker. Then they can RPO the other linebacker if they don't want to get to him. They can insert somebody. So if you want to talk about bringing a fullback in or whatever, they can run the duo ISO block and insert somebody to help Montgomery find a lane and just go. If that's what they can do, great. Fantastic. Opens up stuff for Justin Fields. Because you have to zone block on RPOs because the NFL is only 1 yard down the field. College is 3. Yeah. So you're going to have to make those decisions very quickly. I have no problem with it. That's a long-winded answer, but I don't mind it if that's what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking, like, are they adapted to it? And I mean, last year, when we run, like, seriously, like the Bears offensive line last season, this is part of why, Matt Nagy with us got, at least to me, got so frustrating, was that pass pro, it was awful. Overall, it was just awful pass pro. But, clearly the run game, which is, it's more simple to do run game. You just run ahead, you beat the guy in front of you most of the time, and you just make sure if you say what hole it is, you better open that damn hole up, or you better at least open a hole up. It's easier. Go forward, beat the guy off the line, get your hands in between the center of his pads, and move his ass backwards. So I don't know. It just seemed like they never caught on with that. But I don't know, this year, I guess, I don't know, zone blocking, I guess I'm asking it just because, I more was watching it last year is hey, when run game happened for them, it worked. They do it fine. It sounds like we'll have more of a focus this year. I just want to see more chances where we get the pocket doesn't break down as much. There's better protection,
Over the years with the Bears, it just seemed like they got all these I bring this up all the time. They got all these tight ends 2 years ago because that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to run the football. You had Mitch Trubisky. You wanted to run the football. Then you don't use all the tight ends in the run game. So you got these guys on the roster for no reason. That's another thing the Bears need to do. They have to utilize tight end blocking. That opens up the box. But that's the problem. If you got nobody to throw it to, they're going to stack the box and say, throw it. We dare you to throw it. So I think you and I can read this, but some people that I read online, when they talk about running the football, well, it's okay, they got 8 guys in the box. We want them to do. There's nothing you can do. Like I said, U of I last year and the Bears were very similar to me. Where they lived and died was running the football.
Yeah.
Talking to Coach Miller about it, they know that you have to be able to pass the ball. And that's one thing U of I will do better at this year. They got Syracuse transfer quarterback. They got some other guys that will do better. Bears are the same thing. They have to utilize tight end blocking. They have to utilize getting outside runs to soften the box up because you can't live and die by that with the Bears, especially because we had an old offensive line. Now we're going to have we have a lot of young draft guys coming in.
Oh, yes.
So
yes, we do.
You're going to have to get creative in getting to the outside. You're going to have to get creative in this and that. And then pass protection, my God, I think being younger and being healthier will help. But you cannot do what I saw was a lot of 5-man protection, which you can't do, and a lot of 5-man protection with deep routes. So when that happened, that was the problem. And that's when you knew Matt Nagy was calling the offense, when you saw longer passes with 5-man protection. No, you got to keep that tight end to block. You got to keep that running back in to block. You have to run screens to soften all that up. You have to have an intermediate route. You can have one guy just bailing all hell out to get deep, but you got to have something in the middle. You got to have some other type of thing, which I think bringing a Green Bay offense in, what are they very good at? They're very good at that stuff. They're very good at getting the ball out quick. They're very good at, I know it's Aaron Rodgers, but if he can bring that down there and say, this is what works, then hopefully the Bears, and everything softens everything up.
Sure. And I think here's another point I got brought up to me that was really good. I didn't think about this. Pringle and St. Brown, at least, they're 2 receivers that are coming into this. St. Brown, first off, worked with Getsy. So, that's one thing you can say, great to have that chemistry and understanding of what you want to do offensively. But both of them all come from systems that they very much pride themselves on. If the original script doesn't work, scramble drill, opening yourself up, being ready to read what the quarterback wants in, a dire situation, that's what they exceed at, And I mean, I know some people are arguing that Chicago didn't do a great job of that last year. There's probably tape that proves that. I know that, having guys like that can come in and say, okay, I know what to do here,
Right.
And like I said, Pringle being probably arguably the number 2 right now, at least going into training camp here soon. He's a guy that probably is like, okay, this is what we need to do. If Justin Fields is back there, the bootleg fails and the play is already broken, start running the hell around and finding openings in your secondary. Don't wait on the route. Don't just kind of jog around a little, actively try and outmaneuver your guy, that helps us, and that's going to be because of the offense being more opening out of the pocket. You imagine this year, they're going to have receivers that know, hey, we need to be ready for our QB to throw to. We can't let them just get killed. So
that is a good point. The receivers will know what to do better, hopefully, in that situation. But the big thing is Justin Fields. what kind of progression is he going to take? Because again, was it all Mitch Trubisky's fault? Looking back at it, no. But
No.
you hope that Justin Fields takes the next step. I have to be on board with it. I have to be okay with him being there. I'm not sold. I have all 2022 film of Justin Fields at Ohio State. So I have proof of certain downfalls of his from watching it. I watch these offenses to steal from them. So I know things that he does. And he did them last year. He wants to one read and then take off. He did better as the year went on, but again, that's where they blame the offensive line, and I have a problem with that all the time. Was it their fault? Absolutely, but there are times where it's not all their fault either. But it is what it is. So you guys see Justin Fields take that next step. But again, we're going to take lumps as the Chicago Bears this year. It's going to be
bad. They didn't say it. I know that Poles was asked about this in the offseason about, is this a rebuild? Are we resetting? And of course, it's the cliche, no, we're retooling, And I guess when you look at the cap situation and, they shedded a lot of guys with high contracts, or people like Khalil Mack, where it's like veterans that, maybe they still could be good, but we want to think younger and we can get something out of it for this. So I guess I can agree it's a retool. Thing is though, it is for next year we're building towards.
Mm-hmm.
You really this is an eval period. This is straight up evaluation for this. So you're going to see even more changes next year. Right now, this is kind of like a holding pattern. See what you can get the best out of. Hell, I mean, if the Bears get to the playoffs this season, they have overachieved immensely. Getting that, I think that this could be, at best, a 7th seed team right now. If not, I wouldn't be shocked if they just miss the playoffs and they just reset for next year. That's my expectations right now.
They have a tough schedule, and their bye week's not till week 14.
Yeah, it's a long way off. It's a long sledding.
Because you got San Francisco to start, and Jimmy G still might be there.
Yeah, Jimmy G or oh my goodness, I cannot believe you're going to have both of those guys that might be there.
My EIU guy, he'll still be there. And then Green Bay week 2, are you kidding me? And then you got Houston and New York. Yeah, whatever. Minnesota, toss up. Washington football team should be a win because Carson Wentz will break both of his ankles at the same time.
Yep.
New England, Dallas, Miami, Detroit, Atlanta, Jets, Green Bay again. Then you end with Philadelphia, Buffalo, Detroit, and Minnesota. It's not easy.
They're tests.
But it's not easy.
It's a lot of tests, That's what I take away from this. Chicago's going to get tested this year. You're going to, like you said, the main things you're watching out for is, Justin Fields, does he progress? Do the picks that they picked up this season, instantly make an impact like a Brisker or Gordon? Do they make an instant impact on those in the secondary? And, how well is the offensive line improved? I think and how does the scheme for Luke Getsy transition with what the Bears have already currently for what they most likely are going to bring back is the majority of last year's offensive line anyway. Healthy this time around, credit for some people like Jenkins, Borum, company, they'll have more time out there. So those are things to think about. And then beyond that, I mean, it's just seeing what you can do going into the off season.
And then who's going to rush the quarterback?
Yep. Well, and yeah, who's going to rush the quarterback and who's going to be in the interior? Because I mean, seriously, between I think like Tonga and Blackson, I mean, I like Tonga, I like Blackson as rotational guys. I don't know if either one of them yet has proven that they could be we'll plug them in for 2 to 3 quarters length and then rotate them out every now and then type of nose tackles or defensive tackles. But, all of a sudden that's become a weak link of any position the Bears have had in recent years. All of a sudden the defensive line is one that's up to question.
I know.
How does that even happen?
I know. One of the things they pride themselves on is defense, and now we're looking at going, okay, who's going to be in the back? Well, they drafted some guys, but who's going to rush quarterback? We don't. What?
I mean,
linebacker plays. What?
I mean, look, either Gibson keeps improving from what he had last year. You hope that Quinn stays a similar production. He's not going to get a record year again. I highly doubt you see him break his own record or match it.
Mm-hmm.
But you better hope they get something like double digits. That's my expectation for sacks. And then if it's not Gibson, Muhammad better come in there and make an impact that's better than Gibson's, in my opinion. My understanding with Eberflus is that he rotates out guys. He gets them try to be as fresh as possible and keeps the edge rushers on a consistent basis of, okay, you're in here. It's not like every play, but it's like half the game you're going to be in, half the game you're going to be out getting fresh. Keep those legs so that you're always able to give 100% much more consistently, I guess.
Right.
So, whoever's your question is mainly whoever's on the opposite side of Quinn is going to be what you're watching out for,
And they're just going to double team him.
I think that'll happen. I mean, last year, if people didn't learn that lesson, they're better be good against the speed rush because that's what he does best. He speed rushes you.
Well, because it was either you had Mac on the other side, but then when he was unhealthy, once in a while you had Akeem Hicks in the middle. So it was like, who do you really look at? Well, now Mac's gone. Akeem Hicks just signed with Tampa Bay, I think. He's going down there to try to win a ring. That's a huge pickup. So it's like, who do we have? And you're going to have guys step up. We're not going to be as big. So they might not demand as much double teams. So the linebackers are going to have to step up their game because they're going to start to get blocked. But you're right. Then we have to rely on our safeties to come running down there and make a play because Eberflus is going to play like a 4-3 type defense, sort of, I think. So they're going to have linebacker play. They're going to have to bring guys into the box and make tackles. And they'll hop into that 3-man odd man front once in a while. But, I'm not – the defense I'm worried about, which I've never thought of saying for a Bears team, how bad it was we've been the last couple of years. At least the defense was pretty good. I think it's just going to look different. Not saying they're going to be bad because Eberflus is a defensive guy. So he'll be okay. It's just going to look different. I think it will look a little different than what we're used to.
Well, at least we're going back to 4-3.
At least we're going back to it'll be 4-3, 4-2-5 look. And I think that's another reason why I think he drafted all these corners and safeties to hop into a 4-2 look to bring outside linebackers down to try to make a play.
Yeah.
I really think that's what they're going to try to do. But they are going to have to hop into that 3-4 look because that's what this team has been built on for the last couple of years of like. So he is still going to have to hop into that. But it's a scary time in Chicago where we're looking at going, oh my God, who's going to do what on defense? Besides Roquan Smith, like now we're looking at going, oh.
When you're retooling, anything can happen. You're
rebuilding there, champ. You can call it retooling if you want. It's a rebuild.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like I said, my expectations at least. I mean, they were low last year, but I'm doing it saying it's low, but I'm curiously on the low end. Just like, I have nothing to lose to start the season. I'm ready to go.